Hi everybody! Welcome to this week's Padilla in the Know. I am so excited to have Milena with us. Yay! It's going to be so fun. So Milena and I used to work together. We were producers together back at Home and Family on the Hallmark Channel, which seems like, God, forever ago now. It must have been like 7 years or something.
Yes,
it's been a minute.
Yep.
But it was super fun.
It always was.
You are beyond talented and have had so many amazing just incarnations of your career. So I would love for you to catch us up on what you have done and also what you're working on now.
Perfect. Well, very happy to be here, Amy. This is so exciting. And, you know, it's always good to tell your story because everyone has a different story.
True.
So my career started many moons ago at Entertainment Tonight. And that was really my first place where, you know, I decided, okay, I want to be in this forever, I guess, because I'm still in it now. So I started off as a PA, as many people do, and I was very lucky to fill many different seats. So from editing to being a PA to doing voiceovers with talent. So I was very lucky to work with Mary Hart for a very long time. And I think once I was in with them, I really was given the opportunity to be trusted and to go out and start doing red carpets and assisting and really seeing how the behind the scenes works. So that, after many years, opened the door for me to go to talk television and do Ricky Lake. And then I also started working in the YouTube space with Kevin Frazier and did his hiphollywood.com, and then that also opened up the door for lifestyle at Hallmark.
So good.
And fast forward 7 seasons later, I ended up going to NBC. And it was a company that I always wanted to work for. So I think that if you really set your mind to it at some point in your career, if you stick it out, you'll end up where you once wanted to be.
It's true.
Yes. So now I am a supervising producer for a brand new lifestyle entertainment show called California Live. So I'm born and bred here. So for me, this is sort of fitting at this time because we go all over the entire state and we tell you where to go, what to do, what's fun, what's hip. We do celebrity interviews. We meet influencers. So it's very broad and entertaining, but a lot of hard work. So
I love it. I know. I think that's kind of the secret about producing is everyone's like, oh, it's so glamorous. It's so fun. It looks so amazing on your social. And then it's so much work. It's like an unbelievable amount of work.
Yes.
And I think there's a reason that most producers are like 20.
Exactly.
Because you were literally working around the clock. It's like insane.
Yes. Insane. But I think that if it's your passion and you love it, like you and I think that we're just sort of building and seeing how the 20-year-olds are doing.
Well, and I think it's also the sort of thing where you realize how much you love it and you kind of love the pressure of it and you love the pace of it. Because I think either your personality's cut out for it or like it's not a good fit. And you find that out very quickly. Very quickly. And if it's not a good fit, that's fine. Yeah. Like, because it's tough. It's like you were fed to the lions.
It's a certain person.
Yeah, it definitely takes a certain personality for sure. So I have so many questions, so many things I want to chat with about for today. So I think we'll jump right in.
Jump in.
So I think there's a lot of misunderstanding around how talent and brands get booked on a television show.
Yes.
I hear all kinds of crazy ideas and crazy stories, everything from it's pay to play or it's just like you have to know someone and that's the only way in, or like I hear all kinds of stuff. So I would love for you to share with us how you vet an idea or a person or a brand and how you make a decision to build a segment around that idea.
So there are many different ways. So there's not one way to do it. One thing, though, that I think needs to be very clear is I know when people submit their ideas or, send me emails, they DM me, LinkedIn. Those are great avenues, really, because I do feel at some point someone will see it. Oh, yeah. So I encourage that all the way. However, you really need to find a unique way that no one else has done before. Because if you give us like 4, ideas, usually those 4 ideas have already been submitted. Half the time, it happens all the time that people are like, oh, I have this great, they think that, the way that their headline is so great, but then the product is not, there's no idea with the product. So it's like, okay, I get it. This is a great, product. It's a great beauty. It looks great, but how? What's your idea? What can we actually do with it? Is this used 4 ways, 5 ways, 10 ways, 6 ways? That's what we need to hear, is basically I'm looking just for out of the box, unique ideas. And if I see one idea that I have not seen in the last couple of days, I'm going to call you. And that is how, we get everything rolling. Seriously, it's just one little unique idea that sets you apart from anybody else.
Yeah, and I think if you have a celebrity angle to throw in there, I feel like that's always helpful and useful.
Yes. Or influencer, because numbers do matter.
Yeah, but I think you're right that the fact that it kind of catches your ear or catches your eye.
Yes.
It's also that means it's also going to catch the viewer's eye.
Correct.
And it is uncanny how common so many ideas or ideas around specific products or kinds of products are. And it's like you can't do the same thing all the time.
No.
And as a producer, you really can't bring the same thing to the table ever. You have to have 1,000 different ways to pitch it. And so it's like, you definitely need to put your thinking cap on.
And I think one thing, obviously I recommend anybody who is going to pitch to somebody, watch the show.
Oh my God, yeah.
Watch the show or the series or whatever it is, because if you start watching it and you see that they move out of the studio, that's another idea to pitch, because it's like, okay, we're not going to be so enclosed. We're not going to just be in this setting. They can actually do something with my product, my brand, outside, in the field.
Yeah.
So I think that is also very important. Don't only just count on, they're going to only do it one way. Know who you're pitching to.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I think it's important about the field stuff too. So just for anyone who's watching who doesn't know, in the field means that you go on location somewhere. So if you're pitching a chef and you book them and you shoot in their restaurant instead of bringing them into the studio to do a cooking segment, that would be in the field. But I think it's such a great way to use people's spaces, and particularly restaurants have such beautiful spaces. They put so much thought and money into making the space memorable and beautiful, and it always plays really well on camera.
Or houses or whatever. It really, there's no limitation. You just have to know who you are going after.
Yeah.
And even for us, for my show, we're on the Universal Studios lot. We are open to using Universal Studios. So if we can't go to your restaurant because you're open for business and you don't want to bother your, customers and all that, guess what? We can transform an area and make it something unique. But it's just about really knowing who and how you're going to approach, your brand and how you're going to pitch it.
Totally. Yeah. Such good advice. So what are the top 3 tips that you have for an individual or a brand when they're crafting their pitch to send to you? Things that really hook you, things that really give you great leverage when you're pitching to your EP?
Definitely always, if you have someone attached with the brand, I would say tell us who you can want to work with, whether it be an influencer, a celebrity. Even though you might think that the celebrity is very well known, send a photo or a clip of the person, because it's usually being pitched to a room of people, not just the actual booker. It goes through so many different levels of people that I think the easiest way is always sending who's going to be involved, who's going to be your talking head. Even if it's, yourself and this is your own brand, just show us how you can talk and how you interact and how you are on camera. We need to know, and we don't need to see a lot of it. We just need to see a little bit of it. And I think also very simple, unique, to the point. That's what we love. And just, avoid, hey, I have this great cream and it does this, this, and this, and that's it. Okay, no. What can you do? What can you do with the cream, right?
Yeah. Well, and again, I think it's about getting outside the box.
Right.
And it's really putting on your creativity hat.
Yep.
And deciding, okay, it's a cream, but did you know it's actually really great on bug bites for kids in the summer?
Yes.
Or, things that have a seasonal angle to them.
Exactly.
Just something that helps give you leverage. Because at the end of the day, when you're in that room with all of those people and you have literally 30 seconds to sell them on this idea, you need any piece of ammo that you can get.
So photo or video, couple of sentences, and just a fun, unique, angle and of what you can do with this. And that's it. I don't need, a story. That's
simple's best.
Simple's to the point.
Because you have time to read about two sentences.
Pretty much.
So simple's best.
Yeah.
And then, so you've worked on both national and then more local style television shows. So why is a more locally focused show so important and beneficial for brands and individuals? I think everyone just thinks the only TV worth being on is the Today Show.
Right. And that's just such a bad misconception, because I think some of the most highly rated shows are local. You have Cindy, the one in Chicago, Windy City. That's their number one local show. KTLA, which is here, even though they're news, they are very branded and they are very local, and they have so many eyes on them. So they're at the number one slot here in California. And imagine how big the states are. And it's just foolish to not go local. It really is foolish, because guess what? Once you're on a show like that, then you'll be able to have a different platform to go national or to go to a different, big local city.
Yeah. Well, I know when we worked on national television together, you needed to see local clips to vet them. They couldn't even be considered if they didn't have a local clip of some description. Because you want to see how they're going to be on camera. And when you do local, it's basically always live, which means they turn the camera on and now it's time to go. And so they want to see how you're going to react. Are you going to freeze up and freak out? Or can you roll with it and go? And if something happens, you just kind of laugh it off and keep going. And they also want to make sure that you really are passionate about what you're talking about and that you know your stuff. And I feel like there's just no better place to cut your teeth that way than local, because everyone there is so seasoned, and they've seen so much, and there's nothing that can ruffle their feathers. You just can't shock and awe them, because they've seen everything, and they give you great tips, and they really want you to do well. They want you to shine, because that helps them shine. And so they give you great ideas and great tips, and I don't know. I have a lot of love for local.
Oh, I agree. I have to say, California Live is a brand new show on NBC. And even though, we're on at a great mid-hour, but it really now is becoming a place where that's their one stop along with the national shows. So it really shows a lot, because they're okay, California is so big. And, even though you think, it's small, this is a small little, nope, don't ever underestimate it. If there's an opportunity, take it for any local show.
I think that's true in this business period. If an opportunity presents itself, take it, find a way.
Because the national shows look on those shows.
Oh my God, yeah. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is producers in those worlds are very transferable. And a lot of people worked on national and went to local when another season of their life started. So a lot of people will start their career in Los Angeles or New York, and then they decide to get married and have children, and they want to be able to be closer to family. They want to be able to have a bigger house or whatnot, and they wind up moving to a more local market, and they wind up working on these local shows. But they still have contacts all over. So I I would never poo-poo.
Not at all. Nope. Because you'd be surprised how many opportunities and doors will open from going and doing a local show.
It's so true.
Yeah.
So true. So, okay, so you've booked the segment. Mm-hmm. What are your top 3 tips for someone who's preparing for a TV segment?
Again, watch the show, know who the hosts are.
Know their names.
Know their names. And be on time, because depending on where it is, people always get lost. I would say very, very, it's like a job interview. Go prepared. This could be your one shot. And if you are late or unorganized or don't have everything together or haven't tried what you're about to do and practice it, and you think that you're like, oh, I've done this a million times, but I really didn't test it this last time, it could go wrong, so I definitely have to say, just being prepared, being on time, knowing who you're going to be speaking to, is very important to prepare for these types of segments, because didn't we always appreciate the people that were prepared?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is the most important thing. Like, if you take nothing else away from this interview, do a dry run at home the night before and test it out and talk through your talking points and make sure you aren't repeating yourself like 30 times, saying the same tip or the same thing like 12 times. And it helps you feel comfortable, because you also don't want to sound memorized.
Right.
So the trick to that is when you rehearse it the night before, it kind of cements itself in your mind and you know how you want to say it, you know what you want to say. But then when you get there and you do it live, it feels natural. It sounds natural. You're able to have a conversation with the host.
Right.
So it feels comfortable and warm and friendly versus like robotic or stressed.
Yes.
And I think like taking an hour the night before to just like dry run it and make sure all your I's are dotted and all your T's are crossed it's going to save you, and it's also going to get you invited back.
Oh, 100%. And another thing is, don't promise that you're going to bring something and then not bring it.
Oh yeah. That's true. That's happened a lot.
Where people say, yeah, I'm going to bring that. And even though you think it's so small, it's like, wait, what? How are we going to find this hair color, or something?
It's crazy.
Just something. It could be so simple, but if you if you can't have it for whatever reason, just let the producer, whoever you're working with, know.
Yeah, because it's not an uncommon thing to send a PA out the morning of to the grocery store, to Target, or whatever, to pick up whatever this thing is.
A last minute.
Which happens a lot. It's not the end of the world. And yes, it's embarrassing and like all of that, but it's so much better to just be forthright and be like, hey, I know, like, sorry to bother you at 7:30 in the morning. I have been scouring high and low for this thing, or I dropped it and it shattered and broke and I don't have time to pick one up on the way in. Just something that gives you the opportunity to get it there before your segment.
Yes.
So much better to have the PA go into it than to be like 5 minutes before, be like, oh, by the way, I don't have the hero.
Yep. Well,
whatever it is.
Can I just share a really quick story?
Yeah.
I had a few months ago a doctor, very well respected doctor, flying in from New York, going to be on the show, and one of the things that she needed to demo was eggs, and she wasn't going to pack eggs in her luggage.
Right.
So in her mind, she said, oh, I'll get off, go to the airport, I'll stop at the store, pick up eggs on my way back. Well, her route, she didn't see a supermarket. She even ran into 7-Eleven. And we needed the eggs. The whole thing was the eggs for her segment. And so, thank God, she called and we ran to go get eggs. But it's like, you have to make sure that, you communicate.
Yeah.
Key.
Yeah, and I think it's always good, too, if you're flying in from out of town, to send your producer an email that bullets out, like, hey, this is all the stuff I'm bringing for my segment, and these are all the things I'm going to be sourcing when I get there, just to, like, so it's on their radar, and they can, like, text you and check and be like, hey, just checking that you were able to get eggs or whatever it is. Because if it's not a big deal. They can, like, totally send someone out, but
exactly.
Yeah, it's all about,
just not like 2 minutes before the segment.
Right, exactly. So I think it's also a case of like realizing that it's okay to ask for help.
100%.
And that your producer is there to help you.
Yes.
Your producer wants you to kill it. Like they want to look good. They want you to look good. They want it to be smooth and fun and happy. And so if you need help getting something together, or you need help setting something up, or you need guidance on how to do it to make it better for the show, like, ask them.
Yes.
Don't be afraid.
Because they are also on your team.
Yeah.
They put themselves out. They're putting themselves out there for you.
Yeah. Oh, they totally are.
Yeah.
A lot. I would say 90% of segments get booked because a producer advocates for someone. They advocate for the brand. They advocate for the talent. They advocate for the idea, and it's their name on the line that this better go well.
Exactly.
So they totally want you to do it with flying colors.
We will help. We just need to know how we can help you and how we can be any type of service, because we want you to look good.
Yeah, and I think it's also like, if it's your first time being on a show, it's totally worth scheduling a phone call with the producer to just chat through everything and be like, hey, I was thinking about doing it this way. I noticed when I watch the show you guys do X, Y, and Z. What are your thoughts? And just like, the more collaborative and communicative you can be with them, the better your segment's going to go. Because the producer also knows the talent so well, and can be like, oh, by the way, the talent is going to love this because they love chocolate so much and they're so excited about what you're going to make. Or they'll never tell you this on camera, but they're actually allergic to blueberries. So there's a good chance, like, they're not going to actually taste whatever it is that you make, but
or put it on their face, or whatever it may be. Whether it be, a particular item for beauty or whatever. It really is all about communication.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, so many stories, so many incidents of things.
So many.
Doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So I think this leads us perfectly to our next question. Okay. So one of the great things about being able to do a television segment is not only the additional exposure, and that you have an opportunity to reach viewers that you may not have ever been able to touch before, but it's a great way to kind of work in a CTA. And for everyone watching who doesn't know, a CTA is a call to action. So a lot of times you see that a brand will offer a coupon code or something that helps engage the audience to interact with the brand. What are some of your favorite and like kind of cool and creative different ways that you see brands creating CTAs for segments that you feel really resonates with viewers?
I think what really works right now, I would say, is Instagram.
Yeah.
When you go to our Instagram page and find out how, to get this additional percentage off. And fun things is, the brand will also feature the person.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Like up in stories,
big,
too.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's big, where it's like, if you're number 10, the first 10, 20 people, guess what? We're going to put you on this page, and the brand can be, having a really nice following, and or vice versa. It just, the show, that's such a great way that I see now, the way that they do these things.
Yeah.
It's also another layer of producing.
Yeah. Oh my God, for sure.
Yeah.
And I always feel like it's a big loss when a brand doesn't capitalize on that opportunity.
Yes.
Because I see so many brands go on shows, local and national, and do no CTAs at all. And they're just like, thanks for having me. This was great.
Right.
And it's like, take advantage of that platform and invite people to engage with your brand on social, or give them a coupon code and invite them to come to your website and check out what you have. And you never know. You might have like a fan for life. So
and even creating hashtags.
Oh yeah, that's
that are part of social, because it'll live. It will, no matter what. It will live in this social media world. And I think, especially if most segments nowadays, not only are they featured and we'll see them on TV, but they will live on the internet, and they will live on these channels. We put all of our segments, most of them, on our websites, NBC, and then from there, depending on where you're going, they have these larger YouTube channels, or they'll have their social medias, or the Facebook, and it all lives there. So I think doing that is very important, because it'll circle back.
Totally. And it's just another way to engage.
Of
it's
course.
another layer of engagement. It's another way to get new eyes on you. It's another way to get people excited about your brand and also excited about seeing the segment.
Yep.
Tossing more engagement over to the show, and everybody wins.
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like a little forethought goes so far. It's almost like the return on the investment of time it takes to do that is just like 20-fold. And it's totally worth doing because it takes 10 minutes to make a coupon code.
Absolutely.
And like put it into your website.
And people, like, if people hear about your brand, maybe they didn't see the segment, but they heard through a friend and they want to get it, and they'll put, how many of us have gone to the internet and been like, coupon code for blah, 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 item, what comes up, whatever it is that you created.
No, it's true.
Will come up.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's the amazement about the internet, is that you can find so many things even 6 months from now. It'll still live there. So
yeah, no, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And, you know, those sort of things too also get a lot of great viewer feedback, and shows are always looking at viewer feedback. You know, they want to know that viewers were excited, that they were engaged, that they were thrilled to have, you know, an opportunity to get this cool thing at a discount because they're watching the show.
And believe it or not, a lot of people are very, very involved when it comes to talking to their customers and who's watching them, and I see a lot of them always engaging. Yeah, you know, and that makes a difference as well.
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
for sure. Well, I think this sets us up perfectly. So how do you gauge a successful segment, and what makes you want to invite someone back as a guest on the show?
Definitely, I think it comes across chemistry with whoever is the talking head for the brand, whether it be a celebrity or not, is the interaction between the hosts. And so I see it when everything, it doesn't even have to go smooth, because most of the time that doesn't happen. Something will fall, it's, you know, it's television. And I think if it comes across authentic, honest, and we see, depending on what it is, what it says it can do, and we actually see it, those are very successful segments. If we are able to actually see that this thing does work, whatever it may be, or we see some type of visual and there is a payoff at the end of the segment, which our old EP used to say, there has to be a payoff. There has to be a payoff. That is a successful segment. It really is.
People love a before and after.
Yes.
And they love a payoff. They really do. It is gold. And it's so interesting because even in the light of the digital era and so many changes and constant iterations of, you know, new iterations of things in the digital space, at the end of the day, people are creatures of habit. And they love a payoff. They love a before and after. And I mean, I think really being able to deliver that on air is gold for your brand.
And it could be with anything, even with, for example, these videos that you see that are 30 seconds to a minute long of how to create a particular dish, but we see it fast forward. I mean, what we're seeing is we're actually seeing, this is easy, I can actually do this. So I think that if there's a way that these segments could come across as simple and before and afters, and there's a payoff, like, people love that stuff. And they're like, wow, I want to do that, or I want to get that, or, oh, I need to try that. And, you know, that's money right there.
I think that's a good one.
Absolutely. That's what when I see that I'm smiling and I'm like, oh yeah, I would totally do that. Like, that's, for me, I'm like, oh, please come back. 100%.
Well, is there anything that we didn't cover that you want to mention?
I mean, in this world, I mean, you know, things change all the time. I really, honestly, I think they change all the time. But I think that, you know, whether you're trying to build up a brand, you have to believe in your brand. And I need to believe you when you're pitching me that this really is something that's going to work and it's going to be good for me in whichever type of, you know, shape or form, whether it be makeup or food or whatever. You have to believe in it, because it's all about selling. which is what our old EP used to say.
Yeah, that's true too.
And you have to definitely believe in yourself and believe in the product that you're representing and that you want to bring forth. And I think if that comes across, then, you know, you got a shot. And always try, because you'll get more no's than you will yes, but you'll get a yes eventually, for sure.
It happens. It always does. You
always does.
Just gotta hang out.
Gotta hang in there. And even if you get a no initially, you don't know why you got the no.
And honestly, a lot of times it has to do with timing.
Yeah.
Or it has to do with like a booking snafu.
Right.
And they accidentally double booked a day.
Yep.
Or they thought they had a hole for that day, but then someone filled in and now they don't and they have to move it. It's like there's so many things going on behind the scenes. And
I agree. Yeah.
It very rarely is like a hard no, like we would never have this on the show. Like, what's wrong with you? No. It's usually like, oh, we can't fit them in. Like we have too much going on.
Right.
You know, like we're overcommitted for a booking and like.
But also, I think if it's something that is a seasonal thing that you want to, you know, pitch, and let's say you want to do back to school, don't pitch it in September.
God, no.
Pitch it in July. Believe it or not, pitch it in July.
I was going to say about 2 months early.
2 months early.
About the right time. I mean, because like back to school is basically starting now. Like back to school segments are now. But I will say, if you got to know, maybe retool your pitch and then pitch it again now
and revisit
in case somebody dropped out.
Yes, because that happens a lot.
Yeah.
And one thing that I will do if something does not come through and I need something that's similar, I will probably go to my first page of my email, not third page. Just whatever is.
And see what's there.
Yep, and see what's there.
Yeah. Well, amazing tips, amazing insight.
Oh my God,
Where can everyone find you?
Well, to find out more about my show and about what I'm doing at Milena, Milena on Air or NBC CA Live. That is,
perfect.
Where we'll be.
We'll follow along because it's good stuff.
Yeah,
it's fun
good.
content.
It's fun.
And thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you.
This was so fun.
So fun.
So
Thanks,
good.
Amy.
And guys, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.